Everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here with the 14th layout using the April Hip Kit. This one took me an hour and 13 minutes to complete. Here are some of the stuff I want to be using, and basically right now I am just using whatever's left over, and sometimes what happens is it kind of dictates how the layout is going to go, because I don't have a lot of stuff left. As you can see, it's scraps. And I thought maybe I was going to use tissue paper, and I put it off to the side and I forgot about it. So I probably would have put in tissue paper if I would have remembered where I had put it. But by the time I saw it again, the layout was basically done. I was packing up, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I had one craft cardstock left, and I'm trying to use a lot of the cardstock, because I buy the cardstock add-on every month, and I always had a ton of cardstock left over. So I'm just making sure that I'm using the cardstock a little bit more. And this is layout 14, and there's 10 pattern papers, and I think I can't wait to count how many of them I actually used pattern paper as the background. But where I'm beyond the 10, I'm just making sure, that I'm using cardstock so that I can get as many layouts as I can do. Now, this is a watercolor card that came in the color add-on, and it's from Heidi Swap. And instead of using it as a watercolor and, put watercolor all over it, I'm going to use it as a stencil, and I'm going to stencil onto the background, "You Make Me Smile." And it's going to be sort of, I don't know if you want to say a subtitle, I guess. And because it's part of the background, the title on this is "What I Love at 2," because I did a page of Mason about all the stuff that he loved when he was 1.5, and I wanted to do another one when he was 2, because oh my goodness, like, it's already changed so much. For example, sport. When he was 1.5, everything was about soccer. I mean, the kid had a ball with him the whole time. He just kicked the ball everywhere. Now at 2, everything's about hockey. So obviously, sports is going to be a part of his life, because the kid will watch TV and he'll look up and he'll say, "Oh, Nammy, basketball." And then another sport will come on and he'll say football and, hockey. And then my nephew, when we went for his tournament, or competition, I don't know what they're called, tournament, I guess, for volleyball, he was standing there, and he was like doing his arm up above his head, and he's like, "Nammy, volleyball." And then he'd look at me and he'd go, "It's not hockey, it's volleyball." And then when in between the games, he was looking at the floor and he was going, "Nammy, where's the Zamboni?" So I was like, "No Zamboni for volleyball." And he's like, "No Zamboni? Zamboni's for hockey?" Yeah. And then I want to talk about how much he talks. He's like a little parrot. It is so hilarious. So I took 2 pictures. I was going to do 1 picture, and then I just took 2 pictures, and I want to talk about his personality. The kid is hilarious. And so anyway, I got him with a hockey stick, and he's got the stick up in the air, and you can tell by his little mouth there he's saying "score." And then for my birthday, we went out for supper. It was a few days before, because I wasn't going to have him for my birthday because I was working. So we went to like a family restaurant. It's called Heinz Restaurant here in Moncton. And so anyway, he was like, he took his hat and he put his sideways, and then he put his Pappy's on hat sideways, and then he was like, "Pappy, make a funny face." And they were making funny faces, and we only had him for a few hours the night before, and then the night that we took him for supper. So that morning I brought him back to his mom because I had things to do, and he knew, like, he hadn't been with us like maybe just a couple of hours. He stayed overnight kind of thing, and he kind of knew I was taking him back, and he was like, "Nammy, Mason's not going anywhere." And I'm like, "What are you saying?" "What do you mean?" He's like, Mason is staying in Nami's truck and going back to her house. And I mean, he just talks like that, you know, just says full sentences and he knows what he wants. And then he was like, "Are we in town?" "Yeah, we're in town." "Mason not going anywhere, Nami." So anyway, I mean, when I brought him back to his mom, he was fine. He was like, "Bye." And then we had him back that night and then we took him to the restaurant. So it was just so cute. He's just says stuff, everything. So I want to talk about that kind of stuff, the stuff that he does. So the first thing I did was I took the 2 pictures, about 2x3, I guess, and I printed them on my Canon Selfie. I mounted them on some yellow cardstock, and then some of one of the pattern papers is just a scrap. And then I had scraps of vellum, and I'm just, whatever size the vellum is in, I'm just cutting it in that size. And then I have a few pieces of scraps there as far as 6x6 pattern papers, and I'm trying to see if, you know, I can use them. Then I have that 3x4 card that was a cut apart, and I'm trying to see if I can use it on this layout, which is not, it's not going to make it. And then I had this other frame where I had cut out the inside for another layout, and so I cut the frame in 2, and that's where I'm going to build a couple of my clusters. And I think I'm adding more vellum, and basically that's all I'm going to put behind the photo is a cardstock, 1 pattern paper, and then a whole bunch of vellum, just kind of stacked one on top of the other. And some of it is clear vellum and some of it is white vellum. So I think the clear vellum was from a previous kit, because we've received white vellum for 2 or 3 kits. I think the May kit is clear vellum again, but so I had scraps from a previous kit, so I'm using those. And I'm trying to make that card work. I really am trying to use as many things as I can from this kit. And where this was a craft background, I thought, you know, it would look good with it, but I can't make it work. I do end up using 2 of the branding strips, and it's teal, and then it's got squiggly lines, and I'm going to put one at the top, one at the bottom. I'm trying to use all those numbers from the Maggie Holmes confetti chipboard stickers, which it's not, I'm going to use 6 of them. I wish I could have used all 10 of them, but I could make it work. I didn't want to, I tried putting it all in a row. I couldn't. And the reason that I want to put the numbers there is that he loves to count. Like every time he goes down steps, he counts. He counts to 10. And so anyway, I just want to talk about that. So that's where the numbers come in. And as you can tell there, I'm wearing my new Pandora bracelet. And I know a lot of people, they just wear it, you know, when they go out or whatever. But I never go out, so I would never wear it. So it's going to be an everyday bracelet. I've waited 3 years for this, and it's kind of a funny story, because maybe I'll do a page about the Pandora bracelet and talk about the story then. But anyway, so I'm wearing my Pandora bracelet just every day around the house. I took my sheet over to my sewing machine and I did a stitch in brown with brown thread, top left, bottom right. And I was going to try and do a little bit more stitching, but that's the only stitching I do end up getting on the layout. And I decided to put the numbers as, 1, 2, 3 on the left side of the photo, and then 4, 5, 6 going down the other side. And then it's just going to kind of frame where my journaling is going to go. And then I'm going to use another one of those watercolor cards, and I'm going to use those little dots as little, I guess, almost like splatters on the layout. And I mean, I can still use those watercolor cards, because all I can do is flip it on the other side and use it. But I might as well get more than one use out of them. So I decided to use them as template first. And that's one thing that I'm probably not going to use all of them. I found they were a little big to use on a layout. Maybe I should challenge myself and try to use, once I figure I'm all done with this kit, to try to do a layout with one of those or a couple of those watercolor cards. Maybe that's what I'll do. And my goal is always to get as many layouts as I possibly can, you know, from a kit. And for those of you that do get kits, that watch my YouTube videos, you know, if whether do you just get the main kit, or do you get the main kit and a couple of embellishments, or it depends on the month. And if you do, if you only get the main kit, how many layouts do you feel okay moving on? And if you get more than the main kit, then how many layouts do you feel like you need to make? I feel like I need to make a ton. And I know it takes me a little longer to get through the kit, but I feel that by the time I put it away, I feel like I got my money's worth. And I don't get sick of the kits. And that's the funny thing. Actually, as I get to the end of a kit, I kind of mourn the kit. I know that sounds silly, but I just like, oh no, like it's done. And then I have to get to know and love another kit, because I just feel like by the time I get into the meat of the kit, like my flow really gets going, because I know what's in all the kit. I know all the pieces. I know everything. And the ideas just keep popping into my head. And not necessarily, you know, this is what the layout's going to look like, but more what I can throw together and try to do a layout, you know, with it. And then I went to my stash and I got some, well, right now I'm trying to figure out what alphas I'm going to use to go with them. I use the chipboard sticker that says love, and that was from the Maggie Holmes confetti sticker sheet. So I used quite a bit of those stickers from the sticker sheet. I used a couple of hearts, the word memories. I'm going to add that later on. You know, the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the word love. So quite a bit of the sticker sheet on this. Like I said, I am pretty embelly heavy on all my layouts, and I still I'm going to be starting layout 16 once I am done this voiceover. And then I still have at least one more that's going to be, what do you call it? Project Lifestyle, because I haven't used my Project Life cards yet. And then I think I'm going to have another one after that. So I think I'm going to get at least 18 layouts using this kit. So yay. And it's going to be done this weekend, because I have basically 3 more layouts to do. So, and then I'm going to be jumping into my May kit. And I also have to get caught up on my Project Life, because here we are at the end of June and I'm still working on merch. So I got to get caught up on that. So that's going to be, once I get my April kit done, I'm going to get caught up on my Project Life before I move on to the May kit. And I don't want to take too long getting that done, because I don't want to fall behind again. And I'm using my quite dry adhesive to glue a lot of these things down. I'm going to use one wood veneer. I've tried to use at least one of wood veneer arrow on each layout, and I still have a few left. There was, like I said, there was a lot in this kit. And then there was another die cut. How I put this page together was I had this craft cardstock that was left. I had that little camera that was a die cut that I wanted to use, and I had that Make It Happen that was also a die cut that I wanted to use, and it was in craft, so I wanted to make sure that those got used up. And then the numbers from 1 to 6 are except for the number 2, are kind of, you know, in the same tones with the craft. And I didn't mind that the number 2 was sort of orange, because Mason is wearing an orange shirt in one of the pictures. And then it's going to get me to use 2 of the hearts that have a tinge of orange on it. And it's going to make a visual triangle with that. So I'm okay with that. And then I'm trying to use up some of those enamel shapes again. And they're sort of, I guess they're sort of flowers, but you could look at them as just shapes, right? And now I'm going through that 6x6 pattern paper sheet that I had cut apart, and it's all little words. And I'm going to try to find spot to use them, and I kind of quite like it right on top of the words. So I'm going to put the word fun with you because, you know, he's fun. And the other one is you make, and then I put the best because he just makes the best faces and, you know, just the best of everything. He's just hilarious. And I just put me, and I put together, you know, like we're all together. And then over smile, I put sweet. So the words really worked with the subtitle. So I like that. And I just kind of overlaid them over top. And you can still kind of tell because your eye can visually fill in the rest of the you know, fill in the letters that are behind there. So they can still, your eye can still visually read it. And now I'm using my ThermoWeb sticky dots to glue down some sequins and the bigger sequins in gold. And that's going to pretty much wrap up this layout. I'm just, again, trying to use those sequins. I mean, there was so many. I've used up a lot of stuff. The enamel shapes are gone. The LE Studio stickers are gone. What else is gone? A ton of stuff. I can't remember right now, but I'm keeping all the packaging so that as I think all the die cuts, the Amy Tangerine die cuts, they're all gone. And there was like, I don't know, 30, 40 pieces in that. And I've put quite a dent on the Maggie Holmes chipboard stickers. And then there was still the Amy Tangerine, the gold stickers. I still have some of those. I don't think it's going to be as killed as I wanted it to be, but you know, like I said, the embellishments I don't mind putting back into my kit. That doesn't bother me as much. So this is where I'm going to, you know, I find I don't have enough embellishments, so I'm digging into those chipboard stickers, and I'm going to try to use I take out the gold memory there, so it brings in a little bit more gold, because the number 5 and the number 3 and then the love, you know, there's gold in there. So I'm going to add gold here, and then the flowers. I'm also going to take a Heidi Swap, those little check mark, and I'm going to put it with the make it happen because, you know, make it happen. Check, done. And there we go. I'm going to take, and there's still a ton of those too. Like, unless I just really, you know, it looked like I sneezed embellishments on my layouts, I'm finding it impossible to use all these things up, which, you know what, I'm not complaining. It's a good thing. I love that there's so many embellishments in the kit. And that's it. Now I'm going to show you some close-ups of all the embellishment clusters and the pages done. And once again, I'd just like to thank everyone for your support. You guys are amazing. I'm overwhelmed by all the support that you guys are giving me. So thank you. And I hope that you all have time this week to get messy and to get lots of scrapping done. So thanks for watching. Bye.